This is my second video of the day. I had a little chunk of time and I was like, oh, let me do my next year curriculum choices. So I always like to put down what curriculum I'm going to try to use the next year. Our year starts in June, so we take a few longer breaks in the summer when we're on vacation or when we're tired. But we really do a core amount of subjects in the summer, and then in August, when my son goes back to school, then we really ramp up and add the extras in. So let me start with summer school to say, we're going to continue with our math curriculum. We just as a introduction, we homeschool 4 days a week. I work full time, so that is why we do full year round, because that sometimes ends up being having to do 3 or 4 long days to get everything in. And so that is a little bit why things sound like they do. So everything is like built on a 3-day week, and then if I get a 4th day in, then great. We also like almost exclusively use audiobooks for all subjects except for reading, and she'll continue to do reading 3 hours a week with a reading tutor. That's where she reads her out louds and they pick, and I don't micromanage that at all. So this summer she continues with her reading tutor. She continues with her math, and we supplement with Math with Confidence. She is going to be in book B, hopefully soon, a fourth. So we're progressing, which is all that matters. I also have 5A if we get that far. We have a math tutor who introduces ideas, and so my role here is to reinforce. And then we also did this a few years ago, Kitten Math. Last year we did Kitten Math 1, and she loved it, so we're going to do Kitten Math 2 as well, probably this summer. We'll start that because it takes a little while to do. So that's math and reading. And then I kind of went in a weird direction because I really struggled with writing with her this year. And I think it's because she's a little bit demand avoidant. If you know, you know. So anything that's my idea is a terrible idea. So we started several writing projects to try to do a 5-paragraph essay, and it just sort of went left. So I'd be like, okay, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. Like Hartha's story would give you these like prompts, and so paragraph 2, 3, and 4, and then she'd be like, no, I think I want to write this. So I didn't want to stifle her creativity, or if I could get her to write, fine. But I think I'm going to take a little bit of a different direction, and this summer I'm going to try to do IEW writing, and we're just going to see how it goes. I'm not going to put any expectation out there because it feels very intimidating to me, and that's why I'm also starting it in the summer. And in addition to that, we'll start Fix It Grammar. So if you're counting, that would be math, reading, writing, and Fix It Grammar. Then we're doing a Yellowstone unit because we're going to Yellowstone the first part of July. So in June we're doing a Yellowstone unit, and we read this really cool book with that unit called The Unlikely Hero. It's about Wolf 8 in Yellowstone. It's such a cool story, and so I'm excited. Like I got a couple of workbooks offline, and then like some books that I had, Waldock Ways National Parks units. We're also going to the Grand Tetons, so we'll do that. And then I ordered like a history letter to come in the mail of like the discoverer of Yellowstone, or whoever made it not discoverer, that's a terrible way to put it, but like whoever decided it should be a national park, and the fact that it's the first national park. So Yellowstone study. So that's it for June and July. And then when we kick up in August, we are going to add back Hartham's Story, 6th grade, which includes your grammar, and then she also continues Fix It Grammar. They really complement each other because Hartham's Story brings in punctuation, brings in some more advanced topics, and then Fix It Grammar Book 2 is just kind of like continuing to reiterate all those grammar skills. So for the most part, we do math and language arts every day. And so that's math with confidence, plus Mrs. E and Write and Story, which includes your grammar. Vocabulary this year is really cool. Literature, which I'll show you in just a second. Poetry, and then there's something called brain food, and there's writing, but we may stay with IEW, we may shift to Hearth and Story writing. Time to tell. But I did want to just show you like this vocabulary from Hearth and Story. This is really cute. It's like called a dictionary, and like it's like the dog ate my dictionary. And so all of these words and their definitions get like torn apart because of the dog ate it, and then you have to put them back together. So this is in alphabetical order, which is really nice because that's not a skill that these kids have to do a lot. So this is nice. These are hard words for us, so we may have to take this very slow because we could get some big reactions with like sinister and recuperate and querulously, which I don't even know what that means. I might learn some words this year too. So that's vocabulary, Hearth and Story. Sorry, I'm more babbling. And then I went ahead and bought all the books because I know we'll get through the books. For Hearth and Story, the literature, we do, like I said, audiobooks. So I know we'll get through these. Believe it or not, I'm kind of excited because I do think she's going to love Watership Down, which is the third book. So it's Double Dutch, which we'll do. So when we go on our trip in June, we'll listen to an astronomy, like to George's Secret of the Universe. And then if we have time, we'll do Double Dutch on the way back. And then Starry River of the Sky, which she really loved, the Graceland novel from last year. So I think she'll really like this. And then, of course, there's Watership Down, which, believe it or not, is very difficult to get a copy of. Ooh, glad we do audiobooks. But truth be told, I think she could really love this book. She loves animals. That's really like her kind of jive. And I am so confident in that I did go ahead and buy the graphic novel, which also works to, there's like an area where they want you to do a essay like comparing a different Watership Down or something. And so I got this because I actually think she's going to love it enough to want to look at the graphic novel. All right, I think that's all language arts and math. So then next we'll do science. I did a pretty big review on our science curriculum. We used Calm in the Chaos astronomy. We're going to continue that, and then we're going to move into her earth science unit. And so I already like talked a lot about that in a different video that I put out last week. But that's what we're doing. That's the plan for science. And I feel really comfortable with the way she does that. Now, how we get some kind of pretty reproducible or production of something, I don't know. Maybe do it. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do to show that we've done something. And then the big challenge that I took on for next year is history. And what I decided to do was combine essentially three, but not really all, of the three curriculums. And it's a monster of an idea. So we're just going to take our time and try it out and see how it goes. And I suspect it will change. So what I have done is I have I have History Quest US, so 1900 to current is where we will be. So modern American history. And I have History Quest audiobook, US history, so that will be one thing. Then I have O Freedom, secular curriculum. And then I have Mint and Bloom's Power of the People. So I put it all kind of in an chronological order. And then I kind of gauged like how many chapters, how many weeks, or whatever, and to try to get a sense. And like I said, this is a monster of an idea. So we're just going to start and see how it goes. But just so you know, some of the spines of this, so you have History Quest, which I find very easy to listen to. We do that in the car quite a bit. We all like it. Then these, fortunately, Old Freedom uses 3 spines, a different mirror for young people, how Zinn's a Young People's History of the United States, and Indigenous People's History of the United States for young people. And so these two, thank gosh, have audiobooks. It doesn't look too bad though. There's not it's not bad the way it's on the page, and there's some photos. So I think these will be pretty good. And I haven't bought any of the extras, so I haven't bought like any other books that are in that. I did print out the Old Freedom weeks that we're going to use, and so I can kind of highlight where I have, and then I have the option of listening to another book. But that may not happen, so I'm not stressing myself out. And I also have no idea how we're going to show that we did anything. Oh, that third one. I forgot to say the third one. The third one is, I have it in here. Yes, I do. Is the Mint and Bloom, and they use the red American history. And this is really just, this is like my chronological, because it's not chronological. This, I like this. It sort of like talks about individual events or movements. So like, for example, it's like an A to Z, and B is Black Lives Matter. Now there is no audiobook to this version. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages per. And there's 24, and they're spread throughout the year. And we may do them all, we may not do them all. Now, but the reason I'm saying that is we didn't know exactly how we were going to prove that we did anything. But this Mint and Bloom has a beautiful like art component to it, which I think is really, I didn't know that about them, but I think that's really neat. So perhaps that's what we'll do. We'll just see. I think we're just going to start, and it may all come apart, but we'll see. Then there's sort of the extras. So I have this idea to rotate in 3s, art, music, and poetry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, so Hearth and Story 3rd grade is poetry with music. Hearth and Story 4th grade is poetry from art. And then 6 is just straight poetry. So I'm going to rotate, so you'll have art, music, 6th grade, art, music, 6th grade, and then do that on a loop. So we'll be doing a poem every day, but it'll either be looking at a piece of art, listening to some music, or doing something, whatever, from the poetry curricula. So we're learning like rhyme and meter and all of that. And then the other extras that'll probably loop is map skills, which I have Evan Moore, cursive and typing. Cursive and typing have been terrible failures for the last 2 years. So I think I bought 3 cursive books and donated all of them because we just hit a lot of resistance. So we'll see. Like, I'm just thinking one day she's going to want to write cursive and it'll be wonderful, but she's just not one to physically write. So, and then when I tried to get her to do typing, she didn't love that either. So we'll have to figure that out. And then Spanish, there is like an online, a lady who does Zoom Spanish called the Spanish Club or something like that, Spanish Club. I heard about it on YouTube. And so they want to try that out, like Duolingo, and then this lady who does Spanish. And then the nice thing about something that I don't do, like when I have her math tutoring or reading tutoring, and the Spanish, it can be done on days that I'm at work. So my husband can sort of do that piece of it. So that's something we can add on not school days. And the Duolingo she can do on her own, on her tablet or phone or whatever she earns. So I think that's everything. So to summarize, language arts this summer will be reading, IW writing, Fix-It grammar. Math just continues. Math with Confidence, Mrs. E Math, other extra worksheets, Kitten Math. Science continues, calling the chaos astronomy into earth science. History is the monster, trying to put 3 curriculums in one to do the 1900 until current. We'll just see how it goes. I'm excited about all of it. And then the extras, a lot of poetry, and then adding a few others. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm excited for 6th grade. We're biting off a lot, but it's 6th grade. It's time to get serious. I think she'll buy into that because she knows what happens at the middle school from friends and from her brother. And so she knows you have those classes, they're 90 minutes every other day or 60 minutes a day, and you have them every day. And so I think we can start to like get her stamina built up to do more than like 2 to 3 hours, and then she sort of melts down. We have to take a lot of breaks, and so hoping this year we can build our stamina a little bit from there. So, welcome in 6th grade middle school curriculum picks.